Artificial intelligence, digitalisation, and geopolitical issues are important factors affecting our economic performance. World Economic Forum organizes annual meeting of the New Champions 2024, inviting more than 1,000 participants to so-called Summer Davos in Dalian, China. Joining me now is Group CEO of Bitkub, Thap Jilayusapsi Sopa, to give us his insight after joining this meeting in China. Great to have you on the show, Khun Thap.
Thank you for having me, Frank.
Thank you for your time. I think, of course, in this meeting you talk a lot about AI growth, global issues, geopolitical issues. So what is the most important topic in the meeting, and what do leaders concern the most?
Mostly the center of the discussion is focusing on China and its role on the global stage. And Premier Lee Hsien gave an opening remarks this year with almost 1,700 leaders attended at this year's Summer Davos from 80 different countries. And he said that it is very important to keep the root healthy for the country, for China. It is very important to take measures, and they have already taken some measures to solve short-term issues like, all the real estate issues, the housing problems. And the Premier Lee Hsien said this is a very short-term problem, and he foresees that there's a much higher demand for housing in the long term, and there's an increase in urbanization rate in China. So he doesn't see this as a long-term issue, or even the issue with the short-term consumption. They have taken macro policies to ensure that the government is helping with the local stimulation of local demand, local consumption of commodity. And once the root is healthy, then he said there are 4 strategies or 4 policies that the government should promote. The 4 strategies are digital, green, open, and inclusive. Right? For the digital part, it is very important for the government to help promote the blue ocean strategy. He said that we have maxed out, utility, we have maxed out the premium from the old technology, from the old industries, with everyone competing on cutting down prices. Pretty much they're all red ocean now. And it's important to invest in this sci-tech revolution, science and technology revolution. He stresses the importance of, AI, all the 4th industrial revolution technology, all the frontier. So the theme of this year is frontier for the new growth. So the frontier technologies like AI, big data, 3D printing, IoT, internet from the sky, AR, VR, MR technology, blockchain. These new technologies are going to foster new growth for China, and it will create new premiums going forward. So it is very important that they're installing critical infrastructure for the future, and we need collaboration and cooperation on these fronts. And the second strategy is to invest in the green transition. He said that China is at the center of green transition. They are exporting only 18% of the EV cars right now, compared to Germany that they are exporting 80% of the automobiles. For China, they are heavily invested in EV. I find this interesting. He said that in the future, everyone would be using smart and internet-based energy conserving vehicle, right? And for this smart internet-based energy conserving vehicle, there will be a 45 million demand by 2040 EV cars of the future, and China is at the center of this green transition. And it is very important that we invest in solar energy. We promote like green loan. We create the right ecosystem for everyone to be able to transition into a net zero environment. And third is to promote an open system. He said we need to cherish collaboration and leverage on cooperative growth, cooperative strengths. China believes in working with everyone to create a bigger pie instead of fighting, undermine each other's effort to make the pie smaller. He said it is very important that we create a win-win situation, and especially R&D and in technology, in science and technology. we need collaboration across the world to create a bigger pie and create a win-win situation. Um, and fourth is to not leave people behind, inclusive growth. Right? We need to heavily invest in human capital to make sure that everyone can transition into this new world with AI automating many of the jobs going forward. How are we gonna make sure that we have a sustainable and more inclusive and diversity in the economy as we grow? So these are the four strategies of China going forward. But in the short term, we need to first make sure the root is healthy. Right?
Yeah, I think it's very important as you talk about these four topics, four factor, four angles that China wants to improve immediately, because green transition, AI growth, and all the infrastructure that actually China has to build up for these four transitions. But I think I want to take the spotlight to our region, which is ASEAN, of course. I know that the Vietnamese Prime Minister was in Dalian, China, too, to promote Vietnam. And we talk about the digitalization in ASEAN is become more crucial at this point. And do you have any insight from Vietnam Prime Minister? And how about the preparation for the ASEAN digital economy framework network here?
Sure. Vietnam Prime Minister brought the whole cabinet with him to Summer Davos this year, and they're pretty. I'm surprised by many factors that Vietnam has been able to accomplish. For example, they are the first to produce high quality low methane rice in the world now for this green transition. Right. To be honest, I can share with you, Frank, that Vietnam has the same strategy as China. First, to keep the root healthy, right? And the fourth strategy going forward: digital, green, open, inclusive, right? But the difference between Vietnam and China is that the root of Vietnam is already healthy. The Prime Minister said inflation is maintained already in the country. There is barely any government debt. There is very low household debt. Debt to GDP ratio very low. Household debt very low. They are able to produce 500,000 students every year on science and technology. Human capital is doing fine. So in short, there's no issue in Vietnam. Like there's no need to fix the root. The root is already healthy, and they're on their way for these four strategies: digital, green, open, inclusive. Right? They have the same vision that it is important to invest in the frontier technology, blockchain, AI, artificial intelligence, right? Big data, 3D printing, IoT devices, AR, VR, MR technology. These are the new frontier for growth, and they are investing heavily, and they are welcoming foreign investors to invest in Vietnam, and they are going to make sure that they are creating a win-win situation for the country and also for the foreign investors, right, to invest in Vietnam. Green transition. Vietnam talked about the green loan, right, for the financial institution to provide green loans to help everyone transition. And they highlighted that they are the first in the world to be able to produce this high quality, low methane rice, right, going forward. Their agriculture sector won't be having problems with CBAM or sanction or higher tariffs from Europe or from the US. And this is quite worrying for Thailand, actually, that we really need to be able to produce high quality low methane rice as well. Otherwise, our SMEs, our MSMEs, the supply chain is going to be disrupted by this new green rules of the game, right? Otherwise, we cannot go public. Otherwise we cannot take out loans from the banks. Otherwise, this ESG fund cannot invest in the company. They're creating new rules of the game, right? And it's very important that everyone knows this green transition is happening soon. Carbon pricing is coming by 2029, for example, right? The prime minister talked about the open collaboration and also inclusive. So in short, he's highlighting that we need to promote digital economy, right? Green economy, biocircular economy, silver economy, and creative economy for Vietnam. And digital economy already accounts for 18% of the country's GDP. So I would say, in short, Vietnam has a very strong fundamental, and they're doing the right strategies for growth, and they're preparing themselves correctly to capture the growth of the future, right? And Frank, you mentioned the most important thing, DeFi. This is the
Yeah.
word that everyone needs to know. DeFi, Digital Economy Framework Agreement. And Thailand, our country, is the chair of negotiation this year, right? There are 10 countries in ASEAN coming together. We have this digital economy integration happening by 2025, which is next year. This year, they entered into 9 rounds of negotiation already, and we were able to agree on 50% of all the uh, agreements already. And next year they foresee that we're going to get to 60% of the agreement, so there may be a delay on this 2025 deadline for DeFi. But they said even with 60% of the agreement accomplished, we will be able to trigger two trillion US dollars into the region, into the ASEAN region, because
Mm.
Thailand alone is, we're not as attractive, right? A country with 60-70 million people. But if we come together as one ASEAN strong, we're going to be the fourth largest economy in the world, with 660, ish million people. We're going to become attractive as a region. So it's important that we get together. And the leaders also talk about the regionalization trend, right? They said globalization is only a recent thing, a recent phenomenon. If you look back to 200 years history, right? Most of the worlds were driven by regionalization or small states. Now
Mm.
we're in this situation. In the past, there were this system where we have one hegemon, benevolent, unilateral leader, right?
Mm.
And this system requires the leader to be, benevolent enough for everyone to grow, everyone to win, everyone to. But it's very costly for this hegemon to install military base everywhere. It's an expensive system for the leader, right? And now we're transitioning into this multilateral system, with China being the new contender. Uh, they said that there's these two great blocks happening now, and the rest of the world are considered as small states, right? And these small states are coming together to form a region, right? So we are
Mm.
moving towards not globalization. We are moving towards regionalization. There's this trend, to have for us to have this local payment, our own payment system. We have to have this data sovereignty, right? There's this localization trend, but for Thailand, we cannot achieve scale because we're too small to create our own payment system, right? We can't create Swift of the world. We can't create Union Pay of the world. We're way too small for scalable technology, right? Or to create this protection uh, region. But if Thailand comes and join forces with this DeFi, with this regional ASEAN integration, we can have this regional payment integration happening. There are three
Mm.
things that will happen in DeFi, right? First is what we call the regional payment integration. Right now, 6 out of 10 countries already connected on this payment rail, right? Regional payment infrastructure, 6 out of 10. The second thing that will happen is that there will be this ASEAN single window. There will be a free flow of goods and services. We need to work on the standardization of goods and services, imports, exports, customs clearances, right? So we will see a free flow of goods and services happening in the ASEAN region soon. Third is the mobility of talents. We will
Mm.
in the future be able to achieve one passport, one visa for all the talent to move around the ASEAN freely. And there are also small agendas like cybersecurity, digital identity. We have a lot of agreements we need to negotiate, and we need to really wrap up the negotiation quickly, because even if we achieve 60% of the negotiation, we're able to trigger 2 trillion US dollars into the region already, and everyone will win. But not absolute number, in absolute numbers. Everyone will win relatively, right?
Mm.
For example, they said that Indonesia, the base is already big. Once this DeFi agreement is signed, they are expected to grow at least 1.5 times, right? 150%, right?
Mm.
And which is already like a lot for a Indonesian economy, which is big already, right? But but the countries that will benefit the most are the LDCs, least developed countries, like Laos, Myanmar, Cambodia. They are expected to grow 3 to 5 times once
Mm.
this agreement is signed, right? For Thailand, I think we are caught in the middle between LDCs and Indonesia. Let's say if the agreement is signed, we could expect to grow two times, 200% growth. like with this $2 trillion coming into the region. So I think this DeFi agreement is a must know for everyone in our country, which is
Mm,
happening next year already. This year, 50% has been signed, like the agreement has been, and this is legally binding. This is not just like like PR non-binding agreement. This is proper serious
mm,
legal binding agreement happening in 2025 across the countries in our region, which
mm.
will foster an unprecedented growth and investment into our region.
And I think what you say about regionalization is very important, as in this economic bloc in ASEAN will really attract foreign direct investment in, of course, for those least developed countries that can get most benefit. But I want to take the light to Thailand, our country, of course, because you talk about like Vietnam is the most, I think, the competitor for Thailand for as in the low household.
That
The debt there is very low, but in Thailand it's already 90%, 93% there. So how about Thailand? What's our country's challenges and what's the solution?
Sure. I would say we have to free ride on the same strategies as China and Vietnam, the five strategy. Right? Short term, we need to keep the root healthy, right?
Mm,
As you said, Frank, we need to really fix this household debt issue.
yeah,
93% to GDP ratio.
93%. Mm,
Right? That's like the highest in history. We need to really solve the household debt issue, the government debt issue, debt to GDP ratio. We need to bring back the confidence, right? Even on the stock exchange of Thailand, the liquidity, the confidence, the governance, the confidence back into Thailand. We need to uh, be able to produce this 500,000 students every year in science and technology. Right now, we are able to produce 10,000 students, right, roughly in science and technology. So we need to have relevant skills for our human capital, right, of Thailand to be able to work, to be able to work on future jobs, right? 500,000 students every year on science and technology. We need to be able to produce that, in Thailand. So short term, I think we need to keep the root healthy, right?
mm,
And same for once the root is healthy, we need to work on the digital, green, open, inclusive, right? For the digital part, digital minister of digital economy has to be grade A, not below that. It's the most important department to foster growth, foster new premium, because we have maxed out old industries, right? We have fully maxed out old growth, and the whole world is stopped growing, right? Without
mm,
new technology coming, emerging. Every industries are now into this red ocean, and we need to find the blue ocean strategy. So we need
mm,
to work on the newest frontier technology like AI, big data, 3D printing, IoT, internet from the sky, AR, VR, MR technology, or blockchain. So Minister of Digital Economy has to be grade A, and we can no longer rely on private sectors in Thailand alone, right? Private sectors are is very strong in our country, but in order to transition into the future growth, we need PPP, public and private partnership, right? So the leader for digital economy has to be this Minister of Digital Economy. The Department of Digital Economy has to be grade A, right?
mm,
For China, 44% of their GDP comes from digital economy, almost half already comes from digital trade, service trade, digital service trade, green trade, right? Green trade grew 300% last year, three times. Whereas Thailand, our GDP consists of mostly physical trade, right? Something tangible like exporting of rice, rubber, automobile parts, physical trade. Whereas the advanced nations, they're relying on digital trade now, service trade now, digital service trade now, green trade now, right? Intangible trade, right? So I think Thailand needs to foster new activities of GDP growth in our country. And the second, once the root is strong, once we promote digital economy, the third strategy is to make sure that the natural resource, the Department of Natural Resource, Ministry of Natural Resource is also of grade A, right? Because of this green transition, I don't want to see a shock in our system, because by 2025, 29, for example, there could be carbon pricing kicking in, right?
mm,
There could be new rules of the game. right? In our MBA studies, we used to learn that goods and services that are the lowest of the prices and the highest of quality would win. That was the old rules of the game. But now the greenest product win, right? Greener product win, regardless of quality or prices. So the new rules of the game is coming, and the new rules of business is coming. We don't want to create a shock in the system. We need fire drills. We need SMEs, MSMEs, which accounts for 80%, 90% of our country's GDP, right? To be aware of this. Only now the big companies, big conglomerates, they realize that the green transition is coming, green rules, new rules of the game is coming. They are able to invest in the right human capital. They are able to upgrade their supply chain to be greener supply chain. But SMEs, MSMEs, which accounts for 80%, 90% of our GDP, they have no clue that fire is coming. We need fire drills. We need to prepare everyone to not create a shock in the system. Otherwise, SMEs will no longer be able to take out loans from the banks in the future because they can only provide green loans, for example. SMEs cannot export to Europe or to the US because of the CBAM, right? For the tariffs, for this green sanction, or tariffs happening on goods and services that are not healthy for the world, right? We need to be able to produce high quality low methane rice already, for instance. Otherwise, everyone would be importing from Vietnam instead of Thai rice, right? So we need to have this public sector leading the change, as well as private sectors working together. And so the Minister of Natural Resource, Department of Natural Resource has to be of grade A, right? Third, we need to create this free zone, open system to make sure that we have economic freedom. We increase economic freedom every year as we move forward. We have to make sure that we have digital government services. We have to make sure that we have ease of doing business in our country. We have nice mountains. We have nice beaches. We have nice sea. Everyone is nice. Price to quality ratio here is great, right? We are not like Dubai with 50 degrees Celsius. It's super hot. They can only live like 3 months a year there, right? But with their policies so friendly, all of the riches of the world migrated to Dubai with free zone, free taxes, with the talents, with the golden visas, acquiring all the talents to Dubai, to Riyadh, to Saudi Arabia. I can tell you that after attended Summer Davos, we can see the thirst of Saudi Arabia to grow. For sure, next 20 years, they're going to be the new China. They're going to migrate all of the best companies to Saudi Arabia. They're going to migrate all of the best talents to Saudi Arabia, right? They have the thirst to grow, so much thirst to grow, right? And right now, Middle Eastern countries combined only account for 4% of the global growth, whereas China accounts for 18%, right? So there's a big room for Middle Eastern areas to region to grow. But for Thailand, we have nice mountains, nice beaches, very low cool temperature, not good price to quality ratio. We need to create free zone and be able to attract talents and great companies to the country with ease of doing business, and also trying to increase this economic freedom for our country. We have to compete with the likes of Dubai. Bhutan is even creating this mindfulness city down the south of Bhutan, giving out 1 million citizenship, free taxes, all kinds of taxes, free capital gain tax, free corporate income tax, free personal income tax, right? We have to compete with these free zones, right, to create an open system. Lastly, inclusive growth. We are the only country in ASEAN that is experiencing this aging economy. So we need to focus on this silver economy, how to not leave everyone's behind with AI disruption. We need to train the right, set of skills, or skills taxonomy for our human capital to be able to transition into the new world of work going forward. We need to invest in education. We need to invest in trainings for our workforce to be able to, acquire new skill sets of the future, right? And we have to focus on sustainability and diversity as well. So I would say there are 5 strategies for Thailand going forward, right? Keep the root healthy, fix all the debt issues, and produce the right human capital, right? We have to focus on the digital economy. We have to focus on the green transition. We have to create an open system for collaboration and cooperation to trigger mobility of talents into our country, to trigger investment into our country. But most importantly, the short-term biggest win for Thailand is to really sign this DIFA. Once we
Yeah.
sign this, even 60% of the agreement, not even at 100% agree of the whole agreement, we will be able to trigger $2 trillion into our region. And Indonesia is expected to grow 1.5 times, right? 150%. LDC countries like Laos, Cambodia, and Myanmar, they are expected to grow 3 to 5 times. So I would say Thailand can double the GDP growth right away, 200% growth right away once DeFi is signed. So I think really, we, as a chair of negotiation, we really need to get everyone together and sign this DeFi agreement quickly.
Hey, Kuntal, but I think, of course, we talk about all these issues earlier this year when it came back to Davos, and we still talk about this issue. It means that the government's move is quite sluggish, it's quite slow, doesn't it? Because like DeFi, green transition, and all those lowering the household rate to a lower level. We talk about that many times, but we're still seeing these problems in the society. I mean, in Thailand and other countries, they are improving at this moment. You talk about Bhutan, because I went to Bhutan Prime Minister's lecture. He talked about this mindfulness city, that the free trade zone, and I think, of course, Saudi Arabia, they just organized the meeting by World Economic Forum too. They have the ambition to open their country, to get country to another level, but Thailand is still falling behind.
Yes, so I'd say there's this also in economics, there's this thing called endowment curse. Countries without great endowments, they have the thirst to grow, right? They have to innovate to survive. Countries like Singapore, they have nothing, right? 5 million population, 10 kilometers of diameters, right? Very small country, but they have nothing. They have zero like endowments. That means they have the thirst. They have to innovate to survive. Whereas countries like Thailand, we have everything, already. And it's a curse for us because there's no urge, no tendency, no ambition to really innovate, right? And really survive because we are too comfortable, right? With this endowment curse. So,
Right.
we need to really come together, public and private sectors, and really push Thailand going forward with the 5 strategies. Otherwise, we're going to be lagging behind. And I can tell you, Frank, that ASEAN is entering its golden era as we speak. We're going to see an unprecedented growth into our region because with this geopolitics happening, it is actually good for our region. We're a region of peace and stability. And with the supply chain moving out of China, decentralized supply chain, they're coming into ASEAN. Everyone is eyeing ASEAN for growth. So we should really, grasp the opportunity of the next decade because there'll be so much, unimaginable, like unprecedented amount of investment searching into our region. We need to really sign this DIFA and really grow. We need to really maximize the opportunity in the next decade now because we're entering our golden era.
So it means that the action from the government is impeccable right now to sign DIPA, and of course to follow all the green transition on global trends at this moment. Right. Kuntal, thank you for your time. It's very good to have you on the show again, to have your insight from your observation in Dalian, China. Kuntal Bitkub Group CEO of Bitkub. Thank you.
Thank you.